Welcome to Sales Velocity TV, where we pull back the curtain on how the top businesses in the world sell more with less resistance. Bringing over 50 plus years of combined sales experience and over 100 million in revenue generated, please welcome the hosts of Sales Velocity TV and two incredibly entertaining gentlemen, Andrew Cass and Aaron Parkinson.
All right, Aaron, we're back. I'm Andrew Cass. That's Aaron Parkinson. Welcome to episode 3 of Sales Velocity TV. Got a good one today. Advanced customer development strategies. Aaron, getting used to this routine of being with you live on a Friday, my friend.
I like this Friday routine. You know, weeks are so chaotic, this week especially so for people all over the world.
Wherever
kind
you
of
may
nice
be.
to end. What's that?
Wherever you may be, this has been quite a week in the world.
Indeed. And so I think for me to like end it on just a positive, light, beneficial note on a Friday is just awesome. And, as I was saying to you right before I got here, it's my level of commitment. I'm pretty sure I got a rib out in my back right now that I'm.
What are you doing, man? You're taking kicks to the rib at 45 years old now? What's happening here?
Wrong weight. Wrong area, wrong movement. Who knows?
You know what you need, right? You need to get to Miami so that I can train you for a week to get you back on track, my friend, right?
Clearly.
We can only do so much from behind these screens, as we all know, right?
Clearly. Well, we're going to have some live Miami events coming here soon.
We absolutely are.
Because everybody, I don't know about you. I'm dying to get to a live event. Dying. I'd go to a live event in Uzbekistan right now.
I think the world is dying to get. You just think about the school situation. We both have young kids.
Yep.
And just them getting back to school recently was a milestone for many. And even for some of them, it's part-time. That was big. I think for us adults, right, business owners, entrepreneurs, getting back into networking and workshop and conference type scenarios, people are itching for it. I can't wait to do it. For those of you watching, Aaron and I'm in Miami. He's in the Cayman Islands. So we're tropical guys, if you will, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we are already putting at least 2 to 3 sales, marketing, business development type workshops on the calendar for 2021. So stay tuned. You'll obviously hear about it inside the show here. And we got a great one today. And what I considered it today to be, Aaron, is what I consider to be the lost art in business. Art, A-R-T, the lost art. Meaning the way that customers are handled today, shockingly with all this technology, is as abysmal as I've ever seen. But so much energy is spent on getting the customer. We're going to talk to you today about how to take care of the customer when the customer is acquired, because 2 things you're going to come out of the show with today is they're going to buy more if they're handled the right way, and they're going to refer more. And that's a game-changing double element of the business is if you have a system in place that gets people to invest in more and buy more, and ultimately refer more if you're a referral-driven business. So that's the big 2 for that. That's the big 2 promises for today. How do I get my customers to buy more and refer more?
Absolutely. And I think that the reason that the customer service side has gone down is because the reality is now it's a lot easier to get customers. I mean, I can literally put up a campaign in any digital marketing channel I want, and I can have customers today. Now, I might pay more than I want to get those customers. There's some skill involved in that. But, 30, 40 years ago, you couldn't just flick a switch and get customers. Yeah. Right? You had to go out and you had to share your business. You had to talk to people. You had to press some flesh. You had to do live events. You had to leverage other people's audiences. It was a lot of like boots on the ground kind of stuff. So when you finally got a customer, they were like gold. You were doing anything you can to make this person feel good about their experience.
Do you think people are taking it for granted a little bit today? Do you think
Absolutely.
It's like because we have access to such speed on the internet that when I get customers, I can just kind of rip through them? I feel like there's a little bit of that happening today.
Absolutely. No question about it, because it went from like hard to super easy to now it's getting a little bit more competitive, right? And you're seeing the smart businesses get ahead of that curve of like, look, and the reality is just do it from a pure selfish standpoint, right? And which is that, sure, you can go and get a zillion customers, but it's 10 times cheaper to sell the one that you currently have than it is to go acquire a new one.
Yeah.
Right? So why would you not want to focus on developing that relationship with your customers right out of the chute, immediately upon that sale, so that selfishly you can make more sales at less cost?
Yeah, and listen, at the end of the day, you want a better, higher value customer. So we're going to talk about customer value today and customer experience today. I think are the big two. And if you think about, I'm always, I guess because of the world we live in, the sales and marketing and consulting world that we live in, I'm always watching to see how I get taken care of as a customer. And I test a lot of stuff. I buy a lot of things online. Fitness type related stuff. I buy a lot of supplements. I think that's where I watch things the closest is when I buy supplements online, or I buy, even buying, like my wife buys a lot of clothes online. She has a lot of like these e-commerce clothing sites that she likes. And it's always interesting to see what is going to happen now that I'm a new customer, right? So think about your business. What are you doing when a new customer comes in? Now, when I ask a sophisticated business owner that question, they can ring off within 30 seconds, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different things that they have as part of their process when a new customer comes in that they do. As an example, just thinking about our business, our software company, right? Mandatory by our team. Welcome call gets made. Validation of what they bought. Great job. Double checking that they got login details, right? Perhaps you put something in the mail, right? They get maybe a welcome video from the owner or the person that they bought from, if there's a personality component of the business, right? You and I were sharing some examples earlier, which we'll share now. I bought this green screen behind me. Right now it's kind of a brick green screen, but on the back of it, my company label is on it. So it's a really cool concept. It's custom green screen, where it's green screen like this now, where I can project anything I want on it. And on the backside, it has the Pipeline Pro logo on it, right? Our software company's logo. So as it was being developed, and you know this, I'm telling you what you already know.
And you should share the name of the company, because I love
they're a great.
I love giving
absolutely
props to actual companies
that
do things the right way.
I will. So at the end, so what they did was they sent me an email that said, hey, your material is almost there. Check out this video, whatever it was. It was an email. And in the video, it was the two girls in the manufacturing room with the good old-fashioned sewing machines, because this is cloth, sewing the company logo onto the green screen. You can't see it now, but it's on the back. And saying, hey, Andrew, we just thought you'd like to know that we're in the process of completing your green screen and we're sewing the logo onto it right now. We think you're going to love it. You're going to be so impressed. This should be with you. It's going in the mail tomorrow. And you just saw them in action working on your product. You felt like you were I felt like I was the only customer in the game. And I never even take the time, Aaron, to reach out to the company and say anything. We're busy. This guy, I happen to know who the owner is. I called the guy and I said, listen, that is one of the best customer experience processes I see. And this is my business. I'm in the business of sales and consulting and customer development and customer experience. And I said, this is one of the best I've ever seen. It got better though. And I don't have it with me, but on a little business card, when I got the product, in case people don't see email, which is common today, it said, scan this QR code to watch a welcome video from us. And it was the same video, which was them putting it all together for you. So they made sure, this is key, they made sure that they didn't just stay in the inbox, which I think is a big mistake we'll talk about in a little bit. It's a piece of the puzzle, but they made sure for the people who are never going to see an email or who get 400 a day and won't notice it, we want that same experience to be projected on the physical product when it gets delivered. So somebody can just hop on their iPhone and see that same video. Very cool process that they had for just making you excited about what you bought, validating what you bought, and then showing you what went into developing what you bought.
Simple question.
Yeah.
Have you ever recommended a green screen company in your life?
No, but I have 4 times for this one. Good question. And the name of the company is Anyvoo. I think it's ANYVOO.com. Anyvoo.
Right. So
really cool. Great example.
That's the point. Have you ever referred or recommended a green screen company before? No, because there's nothing special about it.
Commodity.
It's a commodity, right? So if it's something that's a commodity, which many things are these days, how do you stand out? What's your one big thing, right? And that's what everybody who has any type of business sales process needs to start with, what's your one big thing that you're going to do that makes that ensures that everybody remembers you from as a unique, fun experience? And I was saying to you earlier, Andrew, I have a client in Jersey called Astroflave supplement company. Awesome guys, 6 stores, brick and mortar guys. They've expanded to the internet, and they're just such good, like they're good all-American guys, right? And so I'm like, what makes you unique? And so they start telling me all these things that make them unique. One of the things they do is anybody who orders any of their products online, they literally take their phone and they do a video and they email it and text it to that client, thanking them for ordering their product directly from the CEO, talking about the thing that they love most about the product that they ordered. Right? And I'm like, how many videos do you do in a day? He's like, oh, it's a lot. It's a lot of videos. He's like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it forever, but
yeah, and they could clearly automate that. But what a great concept.
Right, but right now they're not, because they're, and what's as a result of that, their return customer percentage is off the chart. Like, they do a lot of different things. That's just one of them. But I was like, you send a thank you video to every single client, like customized, personal, saying their name, like the whole, 100%. I was like, wow. But when you think about it, supplement world, protein shakes, pre-workout.
Got to get the repeat buyer.
Commoditized, right? I mean, there's not that much difference, and there's so many of them.
I know.
Right? How do you break through and make sure that the customer likes you and trusts you and wants to support you? What's your one big thing that you're going to put in place that's going to make your customer choose you over somebody else, even if your product's a little bit more expensive?
Yep.
Right? The video thing, when you sent it to me with Annie Vu, I was like, that's awesome.
That's cool.
That's cool.
Right?
And
that's like they care. They care to do that.
Whether they care or not, it makes you feel like they care.
Right.
Right? That's the one big thing. What's going to stand out that makes it look like you care, that makes them want to come back to you, right? So I think that would be a challenge that I would offer everybody today is, do you have one? If you don't have one, what could it be? And start to put it in play next week, because if you do, you will instantly see the reciprocity of that decision.
And I think you made a good point of find the one thing to do first. Don't get overwhelmed with I need to do 7 or 8 things to warm up a customer. What I need to do is one thing really well and then expand on that one thing. It could be as simple as my example earlier. I can't tell you how many people go, wow, they called me on the phone and made a welcome call to make sure I had everything I needed to get started. Like something that simple. It doesn't take a lot of technology to do that. Now, getting into direct mail stuff is big as well. People getting packages in the mail. Listen, we're as humans, we're wired to love getting things in the mail. I have a client right now that sends out a welcome kit. And I think you mentioned this with the subscription stuff that you did before. But to get that little welcome kit in the mail, like think about when an Amazon box gets delivered. We love opening stuff. We're wired to like opening things. So getting something in the mail, depending on your business, would make a lot of sense. Something in the mail that they can open up as a welcome gift, even if it's just a welcome letter. People take physical tangibles today very seriously, and they go, aha, I can trust these guys because they're not buried digitally online. Sometimes there's a little bit of a trust element that happens with sometimes an older demographic, but sometimes any demographic, where if you just stay online, so no phone, no mail, just email, just digital, it's like, let me see how long these guys are going to be around for. Let me feel them out a little bit, because I can't tell if they're real yet because I don't hear from anyone on the phone. I don't get anything in the mail, right? You see where I'm going with this? Unconsciously, sometimes we're not sure if that's a real business. And that's common today when it comes to digital and e-com. So think about, for you and your business, how can I humanize the experience? So on our social media episode 2, we talked about selling on social media. How do you do it? You add the human element, the personality element to everything you're doing. Well, this is the same kind of thing here. How can you humanize the customer experience process and the customer onboarding process? So somebody goes, wow, I made a great decision. I can trust these guys. And man, I'm going to refer these guys. That's a heck of a place to be. And there's ways to do it. We'll talk about it here today.
Absolutely. So that's the one you want to figure out what you can start with, or even how to improve your one big thing. Where somebody's going to remember the Astroflave or the Annie Vu or whatever your business happens to be, right? Another one that it's really, really important that we talk about all the time with our clients, Andrew, is turning buyer's remorse into buyer anticipation, right? So if you've got anything that takes time to show up, maybe there's a start date for your product and it's 2 weeks out, or maybe something has to be shipped, or maybe it's a subscription service, whatever the case may be, you've always got that lag time, where the excitement wears off. And
so you're saying if it's something you can't access right away, right?
Yeah.
That's a biggie. That's a big hole, actually.
So it's a huge hole, and I have a really good friend who owned 10 subscription boxes. And one of the things that he did in order to maintain his subscriptions and his repeat buyers is he would actually send out about 50 of his little subscription boxes that were going to be sent out on the first of the next month, because they were sent out every month, right? So people were waiting for these things. So he would leak a few out to some clients, and then he'd have them film themselves opening it and doing these unboxing videos and getting so excited for the fall box or the spring box or the winter box or whatever. And then he would take those videos and retarget all of his customers on Facebook and Instagram that were about to receive the boxes.
Very cool.
With a little ad that said, hey, we leaked these out to a couple of lucky members early and just wanted to show you how excited they were. And all the people that were about to get billed and about to be sent their box now saw these other people getting so excited about it, and now they didn't cancel their subscription. Right? It was really, really intelligent.
Very well thought out, knowing that normally when a bill hits, we rethink, do we need this?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially on a subscription model.
Especially on a subscription model, yep.
And we had another client this week that does cohorts, right? So they start, on a specific day.
So there's a window of downtime.
Right. And the program starts on a specific day and it goes for, 8 months or whatever the program length is. But they don't start them, weekly. They start them like once every 3 months.
Right.
Right. But they've got leads coming in that they're selling all the time. And how excited is the lead going to be that something starts in 90 days?
Oof, that's a brutal window. Yeah.
And they're wondering why their conversions are down. And I'm laughing because I'm like, well, of course their conversions are down. Nobody gives a shit about something that starts in 90 days, right? So what do you got to do to offset that?
Yeah.
Right? And so what they did is, starting this week, they put in an orientation and onboarding every 2 weeks, right? So now when they've got somebody on who's making a decision, it's, hey, let's get you started today. Our next orientation and onboarding starts on, the 15th. Mm-hmm. And the person's like, oh, now I have a reason to get started right now, versus, hey, let's get you started. Orientation starts in 2.5 months. Right? And these things seem like small, basic things. When you say them out loud, you go, well, of course. But then when you actually look at the majority of people's businesses, they don't have these things in place.
I think you made a good point about that gap. So if there's a gap in your product and service, so some people, they can deliver something right away. But when you think about a lot of businesses, there's a gap. It could be a delivery gap, a start date gap. You need to figure out a way, if you have that gap, to engage them, whether it's prerequisite work, whether it's an unannounced bonus that they get leading
early
up,
bird bonus,
anything to get them to engage and consume. Right? Again, depends on the business model. Could be information, could be tangible product, could be a nutrition product. We talked about, I'm always a supplement buyer and testing new things. There's always a gap. I order it on a Monday, I might not get it till a Friday. If it's Amazon, maybe it's on a Wednesday. But if it's direct from a company, it could be a Friday or even the following Tuesday. And I was excited about the product then, but do I maintain my excitement for 7 or 8 delivery days? And that's not always easy to do. Now, most business owners don't even think about what we're saying right now. They're just thinking about what? More in, more volume, more in, more volume. We'll make up for it with the volume. Fine, keep the volume moving, but don't let anybody fall out of favor in the gap, because the gap is critical for long-term retention, repeat buying, and ultimately referrals. So if your business is driven by repeat buyers, which if it's not, you're not in business, or retention, which if it's not, you're not in business, then don't do any of this stuff. But if it is, then go, hold on, let me stop my emphasis of just more volume, and let me think for a minute, maybe come away from the business for a minute and spend a day or so or a weekend on the things that need to happen before consumption takes place, so that I can keep my buyers' excitement up, interest up, engagement up, so that they ultimately become a bigger, better, more engaged buyer, higher customer value, right? There's just so much, there's so much good that can come out of the strategy of developing your customer, especially in that first 1 week to 10 days. There's so much good that can come out of that. And there's so much lack that's happening today. I mean, I can't even tell you how many companies I buy from and never have that experience that I explained earlier from the green screen company. Most times it's just box and a receipt.
And you know what?
Box and a receipt. I'm like, that's it? You can't even put a 20% discount card in there? Nothing? Not even a cool picture? Nothing? And I look at that, because that's another thing too. I look at, when you're a physical product delivery, one of your greatest opportunities is to make the box that it gets delivered in to show up as a mini salesperson at the door, and so few do it. It's a game changer when you do this right. I think I've seen one company over the years actually engage me with a cool color catalog, 20% off your next purchase as a new customer, like really done well. I can count on one hand how many times I've seen it, and you're already sending the box and you're already paying the postage. You can't throw one more little thing in there to engage me, give me an offer, make me buy more, get me excited, keep my excitement high. It seems like a no-brainer, but it doesn't happen much.
No, it's a lost art. And, I was thinking about it the other day. We have a guy, old dude here on the island that we buy insurance from all the time. There's tons of insurance places. Tons. On this island, you got bankers, lawyers, accountants, insurance. Like, it's all financial products, right?
Yeah.
And this guy, every time I walk in there, even if I just need to pay for my car insurance or whatever it is, right? I'm trying to get in and out, and the first thing he says to me is, "Come on in and sit down." And I don't want to come in and sit down at all, but I do it because I want to be rude.
Right.
And this guy chats my ear off for like 15 minutes, and he teaches me more about the history of the island and what's going on and blah, blah, blah. And it's brilliant because God forbid I ever wanted to switch insurance agents.
You got to be at your front door.
This guy everywhere.
Knocking on the door.
Right? And he's had conversations with me for hours in his office where he's not a commodity anymore. I know him now, right? Because he's not just taken the time, he's forced that, upon me, where now we have a relationship. Mm-hmm. And now I would feel rude if I took my business elsewhere because we have that relationship.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Again,
he gets it. He's a personable guy, right? I mean, his business is a walk-in brick and mortar business. You better be personable, right?
Absolutely.
Like, I look at these brick and mortar, but I live in a very busy area of Miami, and it's amazing that you can walk into some of these restaurants and they're cold as ice.
Yep.
I mean, every human body that walks in that door, I mean, that needs to be like a concierge hostess feeling effect, because every customer is a potential repeat customer and is a potential referral. And again, I just continue to see that ball get dropped so much, and it's incredible.
Yeah, and everybody just forgets that post the first transaction, there's like 50 other transactions that can be made. The job is not done.
Yeah, the job is just beginning.
The hardest part is to get them in the door, but then this is the fun part. How do I make them feel good? How do I get them to buy something else? How do I get them to buy again? How do I get them to buy again for the next 3 years? How do I get them to share their experience with others?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's where we should leave off today, is how do you systematically create an approach for your customers to tell all their friends about what you do, to 10x your business with no extra advertising dollars.
And social is a great way to do that, by the way. I see some companies on social media just amping up the referral and the buyer experience and the feeling process, and they do a real good job of making it visible. Right?
Absolutely.
So in episode 2, we talked about all the different ways to play social. Well, that plays into this as well. You develop a customer by humanizing the experience. You play social by humanizing the experience. You can certainly play into this when you're developing a customer. I jokingly, Aaron, say that it's amazing how some companies just go into the witness protection program after I buy from them. They were all over me to get the transaction, and now it's like I can't even find them if I try, right? You don't ever want to be perceived that way. I've seen people go online with products and go, oh, man, I can't even get in touch with their customer service now. But, man, when I was trying to buy the product, they were all over me like a cheap suit. I see like people ranting on Facebook over product. Like, man, those people better get that customer experience piece handled or they're going to be in trouble. I'll tell you real quickly a story. Good friend of mine, client for a long time, has a business that does just this. They specifically service the home improvement remodeling industry. And all they do is, as a customer, if you had a roofing company, Aaron, they would say every month you send us your customer list, and every month we send out a physical gift package, something to keep you front of mind as a customer. And that's their business. Their business is back-end customer relationship building, development, engagement. So think about 1 month you might get cookies. 1 month you might get a calendar. 1 month you might get a newsletter, right? Something's coming every month physically to keep the referral juice moving and to make that person go, wow, these guys are really put together. I get something from them every month. So what do you think they're going to do next time they need to refer someone or buy more? They're getting something physically every month. They're doing as great as they've ever been doing. Their business just does this every year because the businesses they deal with are doing, they're paying them to do straight up customer development retention work. And that's their one service, and they're focused on that one thing. How do we just continue to develop the customer for their client? Amazing.
Yeah, and you see people starting to get new job titles around this, like customer experience
director,
or director or manager,
good point.
Right?
Yeah.
And even something we're putting into play, in one of my businesses this year is if you've been a client for a year, you're getting like $1,000 gift being sent.
I like that a lot.
If you because we have a very high ticket, price point, right? So sending them a box of cookies, it would be counterintuitive, right? But if the CEO is a male, I might be getting them a $1,000 bottle of rare
wine or something,
bourbon or wine or something. Just telling them the story about it, connecting it with our relationship. If it's a female, I might be buying them, a necklace or, tickets to some amazing experience, concert, dinner, whatever, right?
Yeah. But it's all very thoughtful, right? That's the thing.
There's thought put into it. I'm going to write the letter myself, send it off, blah, blah, blah. And our average client is a six-figure, six-figure plus per year client, right? So they spend 6 figures with us. I want to make sure that they feel like I really value, that relationship.
It's almost unacceptable at that level that you don't do something, right? When you have a high ticket, high transaction financial advisors, your high ticket clients in the agency, it's almost like, now you're just being cheap if you're not doing something. It's different if you have a low you have to kind of be a little bit strategic when it's a low transaction, not a huge customer value business owner over the course of a year. But for you, you got to do it.
Absolutely.
And financial, we come across a lot of financial guys, planners, accountants, insurance people. They have, in some cases, a big residual business that grows and grows and grows every year. And if you can figure out a way to systemize the process where you're rewarding people for staying around and ultimately getting referrals from them because of the reciprocity thing you mentioned, right? If you're good at taking care of the customer, they're going to be pretty good at referring you.
Absolutely.
And that's something that oftentimes business owners don't connect and need to. Take care of my customer. They'll most likely take care of me. But systemizing and processizing it needs to be done as well.
Well, and I think we should dive into that next week because there's a bunch of things that now I want to jump into of how to make sure your customers send you referrals and customers. And there's so many little levels to this, and tricks that you can pull off that'll instantly explode your referral business. But we'd be on for another hour.
Yeah. And I think that, really at the end of the day here, if anything, this episode should make you say, all right, let me take a step back and look at the business. I'm always in it. Let me look at it, right? Let me work on it is the saying. I think the saying is, I forget the guy's name that created the saying, work on the business, not just in the business. I think it was Michael Gerber, right? The E-Myth, right? So how do I step away and work on the business? This is a big on the business, not in the business piece. Because you and I both know, we talk to each other every week about, wow, it was a stressful week in the business. Right? You and I had a conversation yesterday. What did I do? I stepped away from the business to work on a specific element on the business. And I literally stepped away and did some research and did some things that normally I wouldn't do because I'd be too busy working in the business. This is that. This is so important that you would want to step away from the business for a day or two and figure out what are all the little benchmarks I can put in place to make the customer feel like they made a great decision, to make them feel like they want to maybe buy more, hopefully, and ultimately just automatically feel like they want to refer me, like my example with the green screen, right? All those little things. If you don't have an answer to how your customer is taken care of, then you want to get an answer sooner than later, because if you're in a business that requires subscription, retention, or anything like that, your retention will be terrible if the experience isn't humanized and if there isn't some sort of validation and onboarding and rewarding and just, we're humans. Rich or not rich, poor or not poor, big business, small business. At the end of the day, we're humans. We're all wired a certain way, and we're wired to want to be validated. Doesn't matter how did we make a good decision? Doesn't matter if it's $10 or $10,000. It's nice to know that somebody validated my decision. It's just how we're wired. Nobody wants buyer's remorse in their sales process, and oftentimes buyer's remorse comes when the company goes in the witness protection program. And they're suddenly gone after you buy, but they've been all over you before you bought, right? I see it happen all the time. I talked about it earlier. Yep. So how do you dissect that and figure out what are like you said in the beginning, great idea. What's the one thing I can do to wow that customer and make them feel good? Then what's the second thing I can stack on? And then maybe what's the third thing? And then ultimately you have a list of 5 or 6 things that are part of the process that you do every time a transaction takes place. And when you know what those things are, and it's calculated and systemized, you'll be blown away at how big the business can get at that point, how referrals grow, how revenue grows, and ultimately how customer value grows. So if you know what your customer value is today and you do what we're saying, take a look at your customer value in 6 months. There's no doubt it doubles, triples, quadruples potentially.
Yep, absolutely.
So the lost art, man, customer development, said it in the beginning, it's the lost art, right? It really is. Unfortunately, one of the things that gets done last, and I think it should be something you do first, because it's the foundation and the framework of service and development and experience. Don't go pour a bunch of customers in first and then do it. Do it now, then pour the customers in, right? Otherwise, you pour them into a leaky bucket, so to speak.
Yeah, I have a client that wouldn't listen to that part of the equation for the last 7 months, and 20,000 customers in and no more customers to come. And
what? So you're seeing no engagement, no real.
And none of them were retained. And it was
what do you think? What do you think the big reason for that is? Do you think it's a lot of this? Do you think it's because it was basically churn and burn volume, and I don't want to really handle them, or do you think it was?
It was a lot of a bunch of different things. It was I don't want to handle them. The client knew that there was a lot of fundamental flaws with their product, but they wanted to use the new customer revenue to fix those flaws, right? And then, as business owners, I think a lot of people get delusional on the perpetuity of their, they can just, we can go from 10 customers a day to 100 to 200 to 500 to 1,000, and it's just going to keep growing and growing and growing. And there's unlimited.
That's that front end emphasis.
Yeah, there's an unlimited amount of people that can come in, and we're just going to keep growing and growing and growing. And in the meantime, he had a lot of, pissed off customers that the product was subpar, right? And then, we basically ran through a huge portion of his market, and the market was like, yeah, I don't want to buy from you anymore. Didn't take good care of the product, didn't take good care of the customers, didn't take good care of, the back end of the business. And that's it. It's a wrap.
Wow. That's too bad. Because imagine being able to bring that many in I mean, that's
crazy.
a dream for most business owners. Whatever the
Dream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to not handle them the right way is a monster miss.
Monster.
It's a monster miss. So think about this, everybody. This is something that you want to, again, step away from the business and think about. We'll continue the conversation, obviously, next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. The show is now, by the way, on Apple iTunes by podcast and Google Play, depending on your device, by podcast. So it's TV here in the Facebook group, wherever you may be watching. And it's Sales Velocity Radio. You can download it on Apple iTunes and in Google Play to listen to it on the go as well. So, Aaron, always fun to do the show. Every Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern, live in the public Sales Velocity TV Facebook group, wherever you may be listening to this, and of course on Apple iTunes and Google Play. But next week, as always, we will have a good one. We'll continue the conversation. I think it's dovetailing from last week to this week, right? I think the theme that's been unfolding here has been, how can I humanize and personalize and personalityize, if you will, my business? The better you do a job at that, ultimately, the more you sell with less resistance, the theme of the show, right?
Absolutely. And I've got some cool things to talk about next week with regards to leveraging your current customers to get more.
So let's talk leverage next week, everybody. Hope you enjoyed this one. We'll see you in episode 4 of Sales Velocity TV and Radio. See you soon.
We hope you enjoyed this episode. Sales Velocity TV is powered by Pipeline Pro, the most powerful sales pipeline dashboard in existence. Built for business owners who want to see their entire sales pipeline from front to back and hold every stage of it and everybody involved accountable. Take a tour at www.gopipelinepro.com. We look forward to seeing you on the next episode.